Hi, and welcome everyone to this online chat and demo with ShipStation and DHL Express on how to go global with your e-commerce business. My name is Mark Van Bree, and I'm the Global Director of Partner Marketing here at ShipStation. I'll be your host, mostly on the background here, keep things running smoothly. We're excited to have our friends at DHL join us here at this event. I appreciate their time to share their expertise in global shipping here for everyone. Before we get going, I wanted to share a couple of housekeeping notes. All attendees are muted, and you will have an opportunity to ask questions at any time during this webinar or demo. So don't feel like you need to wait until the end for the Q&A section. It can be submitted anytime via the Q&A box in your Zoom panel. Again, you don't have to wait until the Q&A time. Feel free to submit your questions at any time. We've had quite a few questions from registration page as well, so we'll tackle as many as we can during the Q&A section. If you have any technical webinar questions about audio or anything else, we'll do our best to answer those as well via the Q&A and chat function. Lastly, this webinar will be recorded and we'll email you when it's available for viewing. So, what will we be talking about today? We're going to start with kind of the lay of the land. It's a global marketplace, and we'll briefly dive into what the opportunity is there. Then we'll cover a few basics on how to get started with selling and shipping across borders and how DHL Express and ShipStation work together. Before we'll dive into that live demo of DHL Express from within the ShipStation app with all the relevant settings and configurations that you might need for your international shipments. You'll see how real easy it is to get started with DHL Express and with international shipping. We'll end with an open Q&A where we'll answer all of your questions. And with that, let me introduce our speakers for today. We're glad to welcome our guest from DHL Express, Alexis Fortier. Alexis is currently based in Montreal, Canada, and is Senior National E-commerce Manager. He started working with DHL Express about 8 years ago with a focus on e-commerce for those last 5 years. Alexis has cultivated an expertise in international supply chain management and helping Canadian businesses toward international expansion. So we're thrilled to have his insights here on this call. From the ShipStation side, we have Devin Avery, Senior Sales Manager over trial accounts. Over the last 6 years at ShipStation, Devin has held a few roles, including looking over Canadian accounts as well. Devin has 10 years of experience in SaaS and carrier, and he's really one of our best demo presenters. So I think you'll be in for a treat once we get into the demo as well. So with that, let me, one last thing before we get started, before we hand it over to Alexis and Devin, let me ask a quick question for the audience here, and let me pull up the poll here. You'll see a poll popping up on your screen. Just a quick question. We'll leave it open for maybe 30 seconds or so. Just a quick question to get the lay of the land of who all is joining us here on the call. So question is, do you currently ship internationally? No, only domestic within Canada, or yes, but only to the United States, or yes to the United States and other countries. So folks are answering. We'll leave it up for about 10 more seconds. Getting some great feedback here. All right, we'll end the poll here. So it looks about split where we have, well, the good thing is no one here says only domestic within Canada. We have quite a few people, about a 40-60 split between yes only to the United States or yes to the United States and other countries. So it looks like we've got some folks on the call that are already shipping internationally. There will definitely be some pain points, I'm sure, that we'll touch on during this webinar. I think you'll find here on this call some great information on how to deal with some of those international shipping pain points, especially when we get into the live demo as well. So thanks for that input on the poll. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Alexis, and he'll first cover the opportunities of expanding your sales abroad.
Thank you very much, Mark. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the webinar today. So the first thing I want to discuss with you, it's an international opportunity. So some of my customers are telling me Canada is a great country. We have 38 million persons in the country, many potential buyers. And even if I want to go international, I will not know where to start, which is a fair statement. But what I like to tell them as well is the world is changing, the world is evolving. Before, people were buying in stores, then people starting buying online, but mostly on Canadian websites. And now people are buying on international websites. So it's not just a trend, it's a new reality. If you take a minute, you look at the numbers on the screen. If we look at the European market, for example, we have 350 million online shoppers in Europe, and 50% of them are cross-border shoppers, meaning the opportunity is here, 175,000 potential buyers just for the European markets. So as long as you have the right partner to reach these customers, it's not going to be that complicated. So now we talk about why we should target the international market. Let's see how we can reach those customers. So if we go on the next slide, here we have a few stats on what your customers are looking for. So 91% of customers look for the available delivery option before reaching the checkout. So what does that mean? It's going to be important for you to have a shipping page where you explain your shipping policy. And for example, you can explain what's your transit time from Canada to Europe or from Canada to Asia. So you can really manage the expectation. Another important stat here, it's 50% of shoppers abandon carts because of limited shipping options. And usually here, it's because there is no express shipping options. So now we know, like, you're going to have maybe a customer from Japan going on your website on the Monday or on the Tuesday, and they already want their shipment before the weekend, because maybe you are selling shoes or maybe you're selling clothes that they want to wear on the weekend during a big party. They want their shipment to arrive on Thursday or Friday. So we need to have an express shipping option. Another important number here, it's like customers are twice as likely to return to a retailer after a positive delivery experience. So here, what does that mean? You can really build your brand loyalty thanks to having like an express and premium express service. So if we look at the next slide now, I just want to have a few words about DHL Express. Maybe some of you are not too familiar with DHL Express. So what we are doing, it's a door-to-door delivery service. So we do the pickup. If you work from home, we'll do the pickup from your house, from your stores, and then we deliver directly to your customers. It's an express service. So for most of the international destination, it's going to take 2 to 3 days to deliver. And for our biggest trade partners, the US, for most of the country, it's going to be next day delivery. So it means that we are doing the pickup on Monday and we'll deliver it to your customers on Tuesday. And when we know that 62% of the American online buyer are saying the next day delivery is important to them, it means you can really target this market. And even if you're in Canada, they are going to have the same feeling that if you're shipping from the US, as long as you offer a next day delivery service. Another important component for international shipping is the delivery options. The delivery options are really important to your customers. If we go to the next slide, just want to talk about a tool we developed called on-demand delivery. And you will see, maybe I'm going to say ODD. So how does it work? Basically, when we do the pickup at your facility, we are sending a text message or an email to your customer saying there is a shipment on its way. From that email, they can just follow the link and they are going to have 6 different delivery options. I don't know if you can see them on the screenshot. It's on the second screen phone. And here, so for example, they can change the delivery address. They can leave the shipment with a neighbor. Even if they are on vacations, DHL can keep the shipment on hold up to 30 days. So really, now we know that 80% of shoppers say that the availability of proactive shipment notification and delivery option is critical for them. We need to have that kind of service. And we know in Canada, we are kind of used to that kind of notification. But if you look at on the top right, we have 165 countries that this service is available, meaning in 45 languages. So in some country, customers are not always familiar with that kind of shipping notification. So it really means for them, they're going to feel like it's a really premium shipping experience. On the next slide, just a quick word on the duty collection. So that part is also really important now for international shipping, and it's linked directly to the ODD service we have. So if you are shipping DTU, meaning duty and tax unpaid, it means that depending on the value of your shipment or the commodity you are shipping, the receiver, your customers, might have to pay duty and tax. Thanks to that tool we have, they are going to see a breakdown of the invoice and they can pay directly online. So it's much better than, you know, when you receive a shipment, you have the driver giving you a bill or an invoice to pay the duty and tax. Sometimes people can not be familiar with that or don't really understand why. At least here, they see the breakdown of the invoice and they can pay directly online. Another thing I wanted to talk about today, it's about sustainability. So if we go to the next slide, that's a big topic for everyone, and everyone should be concerned by that right now. Again, some stats here. Let's look at the first one. 50% of digital buyers state that environmental concern impact their purchasing decision. Again, here, it's not a trend, it's a new reality. So using sustainable practices can help you meet your customers' expectation, but also, and more important, can help reducing our impact on the environment. If we go to the next slide now, I just want to talk about what DHL develops. We have one of our sustainable option and tool. It's called DHL Go Green Plus. So with Go Green Plus, you can reduce the carbon emission associated with your shipment through the use of the sustainable aviation fuel. So maybe you are familiar with what's the sustainable aviation fuel, but let's watch a quick video for those who are not too familiar with. Thank you. So, but when using ShipStation now, you can also use the sustainable aviation fuel. And Devon is going to show you how, but you're going to see it's really easy. When you create the shipping label, you just tick the box, and you can use this service as well. But I'm going to let Devon share more details after when he's going to do the demo. So now to the next slide, DHL Express. Thank you, Mark. DHL Express and ShipStation. So from what we saw earlier during the poll, you are all shipping internationally, so that's great. If you are shipping internationally, but you don't have an express service yet, I would really recommend to start enabling DHL Express in your ShipStation. So you will see there are great features, within your ShipStation platform. So you have, for example, paperless customs documentation. So you just need to print your shipping label. Your commercial invoice is going to be sent electronically directly. You can manage your shipments. You can request pickup. Again, here Devon is going to show you how, but that's the different features you can have. So last thing I wanted to share with you, and the last message I would like you to keep in mind. So we understand maybe you are just shipping to the US, but if you are not shipping internationally to Asia or to Europe, we have asked a few successful e-commerce customers that are already shipping internationally. What did they do? How did they start? And the answer is really, you need to start simple. Make some research. find really a market that's going to match your products. For example, if you are selling winter clothes, you are not going to start targeting Tunisia or Morocco, for example. You have some tools already with Google Analytics, SimilarWeb, that's going to help you already see if you have some international traffic coming in your website. So if you see you already have traffic, you can start targeting those markets, for example. The second important thing, it's about the international trade agreements. And it can be complicated, but really, if you go on the CBSA website, the Canadian Border Agency website, they are going to list the different trade agreement Canada has with Asia, with Europe, with US, Mexico, and you will see how you can take advantage of those trade agreements. Sometimes you just need to add a little mention on your commercial invoice and you can take advantage of that. And maybe the receiver is not going to pay any duty. So really, I encourage you to check that. And the last thing, it's really try to customize your website based on the market you are targeting. For example, let's say you see on your website, you have some traffic coming from Italy. It's going to be important that your website is also translated in Italian, that the currency is in euros, and you can even have different payment options. We know in North America, most of our customers or the customers, the online buyers, are buying by credit card, but in Asia, for example, there are many, many other different payment options. And for all that, now there are great tools or plugin you can add to your website, really to try to customize the website to the markets you are targeting. So thank you for your attention. I really hope those few tips is going to help you to boost your international sales. And now I'm going to let Devon showing you the demo.
All right, perfect. Alexi, thank you. All right, so now that you guys have made the decision to start to expand your global footprint and utilize DHL to help you get there, what we're going to discuss is ways that you can optimize your ShipStation account for those international shipments, of course, right? Mark showed the poll earlier, and wonderful to hear that most of you guys are already shipping international. And so hopefully some of the information that I show you guys during the demo, but then also I'm hoping that I can show you guys some things that you may not have known or even quite considered. Before we hop into the demo and some of the things that we're going to discuss, I want to highlight this graphic here that's in the middle of the page that just shows the breakdown in terms of the transit process between a domestic shipment and an international shipment. As you guys know, with a domestic shipment, it's pretty cut and dry, pretty black and white, where the carrier picks up your package, takes it to their distribution center, and then, of course, takes it to its destination. With international shipments, you have that one incredibly important component, which is customs, right? Your packages are picked up by the carrier, taken to the distribution center, and then they're taken to customs to be vetted, of course, to make sure that they're meeting the requirements of the countries that they're being shipped to. Tax identifiers have been identified correctly and all that information. Then, of course, it's dropped off by the carrier to the destination. One huge advantage of DHL is for international shipments, DHL actually owns delivery from the moment it's picked up to the moment that it's dropped off to the recipient destination. With a lot of carriers, they may pick up the package from your location, your warehouse. Once it's taken to customs, it's dropped off with the local carrier or dropped off with another carrier, right? Can cause huge headaches just in terms of tracking, just in terms of delivery expectations, just in terms of customer expectations, which are incredibly important, right? DHL actually owns that from the moment it's picked up to the moment that it's delivered. So you don't have to worry about where your package is. You don't have to worry about whether or not your package is going to get there on time. Of course, DHL has a 2 to 3 day window that they pride themselves on. And so that's one of the things that we're going to discuss in ShipStation is how you optimize your account for those shipments. Couple of things that we're going to show. We're going to show how to enable your DHL account, how simple, how easy it is. We're going to show some of the international settings that you might want to configure in your ShipStation account. We're going to talk about automation and automation rules. If you guys have used ShipStation for a while, automation rules are probably the most powerful tool that we have. If you aren't familiar with automation rules, Even better, I can show you what they are, and I can show you some that you might put into place for your international shipments. Then it might inspire you to want to put rules in place for some of your other domestic shipments as well. And then lastly, we'll talk about printing out labels, tracking shipments, and all that other stuff. So that being said, let's go ahead and hop in. Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, like I mentioned, the first thing that we're going to go through is how to enable DHL on your account. So once you log into ShipStation, you'll just want to navigate to the account settings by clicking on the gear icon at the top right. On the far left-hand side of the page in the gray area, you'll want to click on shipping and then carriers. From there, of course, in ShipStation, as you guys may be familiar with, we have two options in terms of utilizing carriers within ShipStation. You can connect your own carrier accounts. Of course, these are accounts that you guys had before utilizing ShipStation. These are accounts that you guys may have negotiated some pretty aggressive discounts on. So you always have the option of connecting your own carrier accounts to ShipStation. You also have the option of taking advantage of our carrier accounts. These are based off of and built on relationships that we've developed with carriers over the year. And so for the sake of this demo, we're going to focus on our carrier accounts, which you guys, of course, are able to utilize. With the DHL, it's as simple as just selecting the toggle. Once you're in here, you would select the toggle, just make sure that it's on. Once you do that, just click of a button, you now have access to up to 68% off of your DHL international shipments. Real easy, real simple. Once you've enabled DHL on your account, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go over some of those international settings that you may want to configure on your account. So you'll just, once again, here under shipping, you'll just click on international settings, and then of course it will take you to the international settings page. Here under the default customs information in ShipStation, because we're all about optimization, we're all about a streamlined shipping process, you have the option of defaulting customs information so that you don't have to go through every order and determine what is going to appear on that customs information. That's an incredibly manual process. Here in ShipStation, you can actually default that information. So if I wanted to default my content type, my non-delivery option, my customs declarations and where that information actually comes from, I can actually choose that here in the settings. So the way that I've set up my account is I've decided to create declarations from the order items themselves. So once those orders import into ShipStation, the item name, item SKU, all that information will actually appear under the declaration section. I can choose in here in terms of my signature for customs, what I want to appear here. I can actually populate that information as well. So all of the information that I default here in my settings will populate on the orders as they appear in ShipStation. So I don't have to go through manually and choose what I want my customs information to say and look like. I can actually default that information here. The tax identifiers, of course, different countries have different identifiers as far as taxes go. It is incredibly important to know in terms of the country that you're shipping to, what identifiers they may have, and if any. One of the things that we have in ShipStation, which is incredibly helpful as far as a resource goes, is an international shipping guide. Our international shipping guide goes over some of the different tax identifiers. You'll see a lot of acronyms here. It just goes over what they are, where to find them, where to locate them, and then, of course, how to apply for some of them. Once you've identified what identifiers exist to the countries that you're shipping to, you can actually come in here and add those to ShipStation, right? So by clicking on the added tax identifier, let's say a VAT, right? A VAT tax is included in Canada. I can actually come in here, type in my number, type in my nickname, and then I can add that information. And then I can go through and do it for the rest of the tax identifiers that I may have. Once I do it, once I add this information here in ShipStation, here in my account settings, I never have to do it again. It's saved, it lives here, and now, of course, it eliminates another step that I may have to take whenever it comes to actually shipping out these international orders. The next thing that I'm going to show, we went over how to connect your DHL account. We went over how to set up international settings. The next thing that I'm going to show are automation and automation rules. So once again, as some of you guys may be aware, automation rules are one of the most powerful tools that we have here in ShipStation. Like the name suggests, it's a way that we're able, and by we I mean ShipStation, a way that we're able to automate your shipping process by putting rules into place. Think of the rules as an if-then statement, right? So if this particular criteria is met, then ShipStation is going to apply this action to that order based on this criteria. And also, since I'll show you guys an example here, I have a ton of rules set up on my account. I'm shipping all over the world, domestic, international. But one of the rules that I want to focus on is this international orders DHL rule that I created in here. When creating a rule, the first thing that you'll always do is you'll want to select a criteria, right? I can have actions applied to every order that's being imported, or I can have actions applied to orders that meet a specific criteria. In this case, the criteria that I'm going to select are international order is true. So what this means is anytime an order imports into ShipStation from my selling channel, or if it's a manual order that I type here in ShipStation, once ShipStation identifies it as an international order, right, then essentially this checkbox, the true checkbox, is going to trigger. Now, once I've identified a criteria, next, I would want to put an action in place for that criteria. So in this case, the action that I'm applying to those orders are, I'm setting the carrier as DHL Express worldwide, excuse me, and the package type as package. Another action I'm going to apply is I'm just going to add an internal note to those orders just for my team. And the note essentially says, hey, make sure that customs declarations are correct before shipping out the order, right? So now anytime an international order imports into ShipStation, ShipStation will automatically populate the carrier as DHL Express worldwide, right? The package type is default package, and ShipStation will automatically add this internal note to those orders as well. So now for my international orders, because once again, we're all about optimization, we're all about a streamlined process. I don't have to go through for each of my orders and select the carrier, select the service, or manually type in the note. ShipStation has done all that for me. So now all I have to do, log into ShipStation, take a look at my orders, check the ones I want to ship out, create label, and I'm good to go. A 3 or 4 step process, right? We want to get our orders out as quickly as possible so that they can get delivered to our customers as quickly as possible. Okay, so we've connected DHL, we've set up some international settings, and then also we've set up a couple of automation rules. Now let's take a look at some of these international orders to see how and where those rules have applied. So the orders grid, for those of you guys that have used ShipStation, this, of course, is where you probably spend the majority of your time. It's just taking a look at what orders have imported into the software. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to focus on this filter that I've created, this view that I've created for international orders. So, of course, I have the option in ShipStation of just printing out all of my orders at the same time, domestic, international. I don't have to go through and break them out and break them apart in terms of how I actually want to ship them out. I can do all that. And the way that I do all that is with an automated process. But for the sake of this demo, we're only going to focus on international orders for right now. So I'll just grab this first one, just open it up. So a couple of things here. International order has imported. As you guys see here, the service has already been populated. The weight itself is being pulled from the selling channel. The package type has already been populated. And then here I'm able to, of course, get a rate for that shipment. Once again, the customs declarations, the information that's appearing here was put into place in those international settings, right? The content type is merchandise. If undeliverable, it's being returned to sender. The duties paid is actually being pulled from the order information coming from the selling channel itself. One area that differs, of course, between a domestic and an international shipment are the customs declarations. So the information here, once again, it's being pulled from the selling channel, the description, the SKU, I'm sorry, the item itself, the description, the SKU, the quantity, as well as the item value. I'm going to touch on the harmonization code here in 1 second. This information here, I can actually change this at any time if I wanted to, in terms of the default information that appears for these particular items. And one of the ways that I can do that is if I were to look at an item itself and just click on the linked item name, it takes me to the product details section. Here in the product details, you have this tab for customs, and this is where I can actually come in here, and for particular products, I can default my customs declarations, right? So for these corgi socks, if I wanted to change the description or change the declared value or add a harmonization code, I can actually do that right here in the product details. And then once I do that, this information will apply to this particular product moving forward. So I never have to do it again. This information will actually override any information that comes from the selling channel. And so I just want to make sure, of course, that everything matches up, or I set clear expectations to the shipping team. But once again, we're looking at an automated process that we're trying to put into place. We want to optimize shipments as best as we can. Now, harmonization code. If you guys are shipping international, then you guys should, of course, be familiar with harmonization codes. I'm going to go back here to the order itself. As you guys see here, under the declarations, any declaration field that has a red star by it is a required field. As you guys see in here, harmonization technically is not a required field, right? You can still create a label, you can still ship out your package without including a harmonization code, also called a tariff code. However, I highly encourage you guys to include harmonization codes in every order that you're shipping out, right? Harmonization codes, of course, they're used to classify products for tax purposes. So in order to prevent any delays with customs as a package gets shipped from your location to then eventually ends up at customs, you want to try your best to include harmonization codes. It's incredibly important. We don't want to run into a situation where an item, a package gets to customs. Customs is checking for that information. It's not available. And then, of course, they have to reach back out to you in order to receive that information. And now we've caused a delay in the shipping process. Now we've caused a delay in getting that product to the end user, to the end recipient, right? So highly encourage you guys to identify what harmonization codes apply to the items that you're shipping out, and making sure that that's included on every shipment that we send out. Would much rather be safe than sorry, right? The customers are most important. Making sure that we ensure a smooth, quick, efficient delivery process is incredibly important. So highly encourage harmonization codes. Mark is going to include a couple of links, including that international shipping guide, as well as any other links that we can identify in terms of tariff codes, harmonization codes, and where to find that. But this is one area where I highly encourage you guys to do your research if you aren't currently. One other thing that I just want to touch on real quick, like Alexi had mentioned earlier, sustainability and sustainability efforts. Sustainability is incredibly important for you guys. It's incredibly important for ShipStation, incredibly important for DHL. And then, as Alexi had showed in the graphic, it's incredibly important for our customers as well. It's something that we're all customers. We all have bought something online. It's something that a lot of us are incredibly passionate about, is making sure that, of course, we're shipping out and we're ordering items as sustainable as possible. And so in ShipStation, we have the option here to select that Go Green Plus identifier. Once you select it, it will apply to the shipment itself. And then I'll show you guys where you guys can actually see that on the label, just to know that it's been identified. And of course, it's been selected for this shipment. Okay, perfect. So now that I'm ready to ship, of course, as you guys are familiar, all we have to do is come in here, select whatever shipments we want, and then we would just create and print labels. Once we create and print a label, it appears here in the shipments section. And then, of course, this is where I can view all of my most recent shipments. I can filter them out by date. I can change all of these columns. If I just wanted to view, I can choose the country. If I just wanted to choose international shipments, domestic shipments, just to see which ones have been processed. And then, of course, tracking information where it's at. ShipStation, of course, will send out tracking information to the end recipient, so they're able to track the packages themselves. But if I wanted to view that in ShipStation, of course, I would do it here in the shipments section. One difference between a domestic shipment in ShipStation and an international shipment in ShipStation is this forms column here. As you guys see here, this form section, if you just click on it, this actually shows you the commercial invoice. And I'll zoom in here just so we can get a little bit better view of it. This information will be sent electronically to customs, and I'll show you how you can identify that on a label. However, if you wanted this for your own bookkeeping, for your own records, all you would have to do is come in here, click on the forms. You have it here, this commercial invoice. You can actually download it. You can print it out. You can save it for later. But that information, if you ever wanted to find it, it's included here under this forms column. It's just a PDF that's being generated. However, like I had mentioned, this information will be sent electronically to customs. And so this is my my label, of course, that I'm going to attach to the box, including the attached waybill here. So let me go ahead and zoom in on this just to highlight a couple of things here on the label. First thing for starters, on this particular shipment here, I actually selected that Go Green Plus initiative. And so it applied to this label here. And so you can actually see it here, Go Green Plus in huge letters, right? It's visible there. So I know that this package is being sent out as sustainable as possible. And then another thing too, as I scroll down to the waybill doc, this is of course what I'm actually handing over to DHL. A couple of identifiers on here that we'll want to take note of. Duties and taxes unpaid, right? Which means, like Alexi had mentioned earlier, the recipient, the end user, may be responsible for paying duties and taxes. However, DHL makes it incredibly easy and simple to do that. Go Green Plus, once again, you see it up on the top of the label in itself. You actually see it identified here on the waybill. And then lastly, paperless trade. So that means the commercial invoice that I showed you guys earlier, you actually don't have to print that out and include that in the package. This information is, of course, being sent electronically to customs. So customs receives this information. All of this, the customs declarations, commercial invoice, customs actually receives that before they even receive the package, right? So once again, we're trying to get packages out as quickly as possible. We're trying to adhere to that 2 to 3 day delivery. So of course, ensure a happy customer, happy end customer. Okay, and then the last thing that we want to focus on is carrier pickups. So another really awesome thing about ShipStation and DHL in the relationship that we have is we can actually schedule pickups with DHL directly here from the ShipStation app. So as I come here into shipments, I have a bunch of shipments that I've processed for the day, a bunch of international shipments. All I would have to do is on the left-hand side over here, click on carrier pickups, schedule a pickup. I would choose DHL. And then from here, I would select my pickup location. I have a bunch of locations that I'm actually shipping from on my test account, but I can select, of course, the appropriate one, the correct one. I can ensure that the address is correct. Pickup contact, if I had multiple contacts, I can make sure that that information is of course included. A pickup date, if I wanted to choose today or tomorrow, I can. And then lastly, a pickup window, right? Whatever works best for our business, whatever works best for us, I can actually configure all that information here in ShipStation. And then once I schedule a pickup, of course, this information is sent to DHL. DHL is pinged, and then now you're good to go. Pickups have been scheduled, and we're on our way to getting our packages sent out to our customers. So just to recap, a couple of things that we went over are enabling DHL on our ShipStation account, setting up our international settings so that we can default as much information as we can in order to ensure a streamlined shipping process. Automation rules, we set up some of the rules that we can put into place to eliminate as much manual work as possible. And then lastly, scheduling pickups, keeping track of some of our shipments, right? So hopefully some of this information was fairly new for some of you guys that have used ShipStation. Even if you haven't, hopefully you guys gained something of note. Or if you've seen some of these before, some of this information before, you're already doing some of this. Hopefully it sparked some questions that you may have, or something that you might have thought of that you never have. So hope that this was beneficial. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Mark.
On mute, Mark.
Thank you. You would think I wouldn't make that rookie mistake anymore. But thank you for letting me know. Thanks, Devin, for that great demo. I think, like you said, hopefully people picked up a couple of helpful hints. We did post that shipping guide and a couple of helpful knowledge-based articles in the chat for everyone. So feel free to check out those links as well. I think there was also a link there to a Canadian government site where you can look up HS codes as well. So that's a handy tool as well. That brings us to our question and answer section. I think one quick question I can answer right here for folks who may have joined a little later. Yes, this recording will be shared. The webinar was recorded, is being recorded, and will be shared with all attendees afterwards. So look out for that email. A couple of questions came in. I think one of the first questions here, Alexi, probably a good question for you. Does it cost anything extra to add Go Green Plus to the label?
Thank you for the question, and I'm glad there is some interest in the Go Green Plus service. So in terms of pricing, it's going to be a really small percentage of the shipping cost you're going to have. So we're talking really about a few cents. So you can make the exercise on when you create a shipping label, but you will see the difference. It's really not big at all compared to if you don't use it or if you use it. So I would really encourage you to start using the Go Green Plus service.
Thank you. I got a message saying not seeing anything in chat. I think maybe chat was disabled for this. So no worries. We will include all of those resources, the links to that shipping guide in the follow-up email as well. So apologies if that didn't come through. But we will share those shipping guide resources in the follow-up email as well. Let's see, another couple of questions coming through here. This one might be a little harder to answer. But I don't know if Devin, if you know this particular one. Shipping alcohol through DHL. I know there's some, we don't do hazardous goods on ShipStation with DHL, but I'm not sure if alcohol is an option.
That one, I do not know off the top of my head if our DHL account supports alcohol, but yeah, I'll for sure research that and we'll make sure that gets sent out as well.
Sure. Let's see, a couple of other questions coming in. We'll probably have time for just a couple more. I think some questions about enabling maybe rates at checkout for different carriers, or for how do we show the rates in checkout? I think that's probably a question for Devin as well. I know there's probably a few options there, including partner options as well.
Yep, of course. So we have partner options in terms of getting that information to appear in Shopify checkout. That would be something that would be set up within Shopify itself. In terms of just what carriers we want to have viewable to our customers, as well as what checkout options they have. Or then, of course, in ShipStation, we have our checkout feature where we can actually push live rates to our customers. And so we actually have a knowledge base article that goes over that as well that we'll make sure to link.
Great. Thank you. I will. We will include those links in the follow-up email as well. Let's see. Couple of more questions coming through here. Let me see. I know we covered. If there is more than one product in the shipment, is there a way to add the tariff codes or the declarations for each of the order items? Devin,
Yep.
that's probably a question for you. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Really good question. So yes, there is a couple of ways that you can do it. You can do it manually to where you go through each item itself and actually add that harmonization code, or you can actually do a little bit more of an automated process where I had showed the other product details during the demo itself. For those of you guys that are within ShipStation now are very familiar with ShipStation, if you click on the products tab at the very top of the ShipStation page, it will show all of your product records. And so these are all of the products that have imported into ShipStation. You can actually go through your product records and go click on the customs information section. And then from there, you can actually add those tariff codes. Once it's saved and once it's done, whenever ShipStation identifies those products next, then that information will populate. So if you had one order that was placed, 3 different products, that information will actually populate for those 3 different products that you've identified.
Great. Thank you so much for that answer. I think we have a question here about returns. I think Alexi, Devin, maybe you guys have some insights in international returns are of course a bigger headache, right? So are there any tips or hints? We talked a little bit to what we can do to minimize returns, which includes that door-to-door tracking visibility, so that you don't get any folks, if it's at customs, they're surprised or anything like that. So the door-to-door tracking visibility is great. Anything else to minimize international returns or handle international returns better? Is there any hints or tips that you guys have?
Well, I can answer that question. I think one of the things, and it starts being a bit technical, I will say, for the person not too familiar with duties and tax, but if I saw the question, it's a Canadian made product. In that case, if you have a Canadian made product that you are shipping to an international country and you get the shipment back in Canada, if you're in charge of creating the return shipping label, you have a specific HS code you can use. And based on that, it's going to show the Canadian customs that this product was exported and it's a return product. And by adding this specific HS code, you're not going to pay duty in Canada. So Mark, maybe I can send the HS code. Again, you can find the information on the CBSA website. But when we're going to send the follow-up email, I will include it with Mark in the email so you can have it as a reference.
Excellent. Thank you. That's a great insight there as well. I think we covered dangerous goods / alcohol. I think maybe a question for either one. Do all countries have a paperless option? So I know we saw, the paperless invoice or the, how to check for that. Do all countries accept that?
So it's a good question as well. So for the paperless, and you will see it on the ShipStation as well. Most of the country have a paperless documentation, but some of the country don't, and it's not DHL that is not allowing it, or their courier. It's really a local regulation. So some countries are a bit more regulated than others in terms of custom paperwork. So you will see when you create your shipping label. And Devin, let me know if I'm right here, but I think you won't have the choice in some countries that are not allowing you to put the commercial invoice electronically.
Correct. So in ShipStation, if we actually have identified a country that you're shipping to that doesn't accept electronic trade documents, then that information, including the commercial invoice, will print out alongside the label, and then you will not see that paperless identifier on the airway bill itself.
That's great. Yeah, always do that check, right? Of making sure that you see that CPLT check on your label as well. I think on that note, there's a few, I know, Devin, you covered automation rules quite a bit. I think, including adding notes or tags, we can certainly do that for, if there's a specific country identified that you want to have a tag for or a note for. I know, for example, Brazil or South Korea have specific requirements to add a customer's tax ID to the label and stuff like that, right? And there's ways to automate alerts for your shipping team for that as well. So definitely make use of those automation rules to set alerts for any kind of cases that need specific attention. All right, so one last, I think we have maybe room for one last question here, and this kind of relates back to kind of in-cart at checkout. Is it possible to include custom costs to shipping costs for the customer at checkout? I'll briefly touch on that because I actually looked into that a bit last week as well. I know that's very dependent on what checkout you use, of course, whether it's Shopify or BigCommerce or Magento. They each have their own solutions. Again, we, like Devin said, we work with partners on checkout rates. We have our own checkout rates. Currently, the ShipStation checkout rates do not have the customs taxes and duties, but there may be some landed cost solutions like I believe Shipper HQ, for example, has some more extensive options on that front. But it's really, it depends on your what platform you use, what checkout platform you use to see what options are available there for you. And we do integrate with a platform like Shipper HQ as well. Any other notes on that, Devin, that you wanted to say, or Alexi?
That pretty much covered it. Thank you, Mark.
Great. Well, I think that's all the time we had for the questions today. Really appreciate everyone joining us here on this webinar. We hope that you grabbed a couple of good tidbits on how to make international shipping more efficient. And we hope that you will check out the DHL Express rates. Devin showed you how easy it is to enable those rates within ShipStation. Best of luck with this upcoming, we're a week and a half away from Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So best of luck to everyone with that season. May your sales be good, and hopefully some international sales there. And this may have made it a lot easier for you to get those orders to your international customers. But everyone, appreciate you being here. Alexi, thank you for your time and your insights. Devin, thank you for the amazing demo. And everyone will receive an email with more resources and follow up after this webinar. So thank you, everyone.